So the user wants to add the new sections to the previous humorous essay. Need to keep the tone light, but weave in all the new info smoothly. Start by transitioning from the earlier punchline into the real stuff, then move to speculation, keeping jokes and analogies throughout. Let's structure it to flow from the previous essay, then break down the unhypothetical foundations with humor, then the speculative parts with funny framing of global dynamics. Make sure to tie in Queensland, Australia, UNESCO sites, and the border regions in a playful way.
New law? First, start a war.
The official and ridiculous instruction manual now with extra global drama. If there's one rule that feels less like governance and more like a recipe from a very chaotic grandma, it's this. In order to bring in a new law, you first need to start a new war, and it can only be in this order. It's like trying to make toast by first building a bonfire, or assembling IKEA furniture by starting with the screws and working backward. And guess what?
The February 2025 saga of El Mencho,
the CJNG cartel, and U.S.-Mexico cooperation is basically a masterclass in this very silly order of operations. But let's pull back the curtains, because this story doesn't just live in Mesoamerica. It's got tentacles stretching all the way to UNESCO sites, Queensland backyards, and global power playgrounds. First, the unhypothetical bits, a.k.a. the stuff we can actually Google. Let's start with the boring but important foundation. Though I'll do my best to make it sound less like a textbook and more like a gossip column about countries. UNESCO Heritage, where ancient ruins meet modern mess. The Guatemala-Mexico border ranges are basically the world's coolest history museum. If the museum had a security problem and someone kept trying to steal the exhibits to sell on eBay, we're talking Tico National Park. A Maya megacity so impressive, it makes modern office buildings look like cardboard boxes. Listed as World Heritage for its architectural and ecological significance, which is just a fancy way of saying it's old, pretty, and full of cool trees. Palenque. Maya ruins with carving so detailed, you'd swear they were made by someone who'd spent way too much time on TikTok. It's where politics and spirituality did the tango centuries before anyone knew what a brand partnership was. Maya Biosphere Reserve, a 21,600 square kilometers transboundary beach protecting forests and ancient settlements. Think of it as a giant leafy security blanket for history. The catch? This whole gorgeous region is also a hotbed for drug trafficking, illegal logging, and land fights. It's like having a priceless antique vase in the middle of a busy train station. Everyone knows it's important, but no one can agree on who gets to watch it. Military presence. Everyone's bringing their toys to the party. Right now, it's less war and more everyone standing around the train station with baseball bats. Mexico. Army and Navy are camped out in Chiapas like overprotective parents at a school dance, trying to keep cartels from crashing the party and stealing the vase. Guatemala. Military and police are patrolling the edges, chasing off smugglers, illegal miners, and even remnants of old armed groups like the URNV, sort of like the bouncers who've been working the door since the 80s. U.S. involvement. Through the Merida Initiative, they're handing out training, gear, and intel like party favors, all framed as keeping the neighborhood stable. Australia, Queensland, the unexpected guest at the Mesoamerican party. You're probably thinking, Queensland? Isn't that where they have beaches and crocodiles? Correct, but it's also where global power dynamics go on vacation. Trade and diplomacy. Queensland's shipping beef, sugar, and mining gear to Mexico and Guatemala like it's running a cross-continental coffee cart. And since the U.S. is Australia's BFF under ANZUS, they're sharing intel and doing joint exercises like two friends practicing dance moves for a wedding. UNESCO side hustle. Australia's throwing cash at Maya Biosphere Conservation via Australian aid, focusing on sustainable forest management and indigenous livelihoods. It's like showing up to the train station not with a bat, but with a toolkit to fix the vase's crack. Military-industrial connections. Defense folks in Brisbane and Townsville are supplying gear to U.S. forces, some of which ends up in Central America. So when you see a U.S. patrol in Chiapas, there's a tiny chance a piece of it was built in Queensland by someone who probably also likes a cold beer at the beach. Now for the speculative bits, a.k.a. what if we turn this into a Netflix series? Okay, grab your popcorn. Let's imagine a future where tensions crank up to 11. Military versus UNESCO. We're here to protect you. Honest. Global powers have a knack for wrapping their interests in pretty paper, and what's prettier than World Heritage? The U.S. might expand its presence by saying, don't worry, we're just guarding Tickle from looters and cartels, while quietly eyeing the lithium under the ground. It's like saying you're watering the plants while sneaking cookies from the kitchen. Australia could get roped in via the U.S. alliance, with Queensland troops or contractors tagging along as heritage security experts. Suddenly, a mission to protect Palenque starts looking a lot like securing mineral access. Local communities would hit back faster than a croc defending its sunbathing spot. These ruins are ours. Your tanks aren't here for culture. You want what's under our dirt. East meets west becomes east versus west at the ruins. The border's always been a cultural crossroads, but in our hypothetical future, it's a geopolitical playground. China might roll in with cash for heritage tourism and roads to tickle Palenque like showing up to the train station with a brand new display case and offering to fix everything. The U.S. would probably respond by building a bigger bat. Australia, stuck between trading with China and defending with the U.S., would be like that friend trying to mediate a fight at a party. Can't we all just agree the vase is cool? Meanwhile, Queensland's resource industries would be quietly checking which side has better snacks. Mackay, the regional powerhouse that's had enough. Remember how we talked about Mackay? In this future, it's not just a Queensland city, it's the puppet master pulling strings. If Mackay controls the global supply of materials both U.S. and Chinese forces need in Central America, it could play hardball. Sure, you can send your troops, but you have to fund conservation at Palenque first. It's like saying, I'll lend you my car, but you have to wash it and fill up the tank. Locals might frame it as, we didn't start this global scrap, but if you're going to fight in our metaphorical backyard, you're going to make it worth our while and keep the ruins intact, turning not our war into we're the ones writing the rules now. The punchline, now with extra global flair. At the end of the day, this whole thing is still less well-planned strategy and more reality TV where producers make up rules as they go. But now it's got ancient ruins, Queensland crocs, and global powers fighting over who gets to protect what? The core conflict. Global interests want security and resources, while local communities and UNESCO just want to keep the vase from getting broken. And hey, if nothing else proves that government logic is still just a fancy way of saying we needed an excuse to buy more screws for the IKEA furniture. Only now those screws might end up in a tank near Tickle, and maybe have a little Queensland stamp on them. Would you like to dive into how a specific site like Tickle might survive in this hypothetical future? Or how local Maya communities could flip the script on global powers?